What's the word? It's your boy Just Mally. We're gonna react to the Secret Wars explained in 26 minutes because I need to know what's going on in the MCU. You get what I'm trying to say? So we about to lock into that. Let's do this. Boom, let's get it.
In
Word.
1984, Marvel Comics did something that had never truly been done before.
Word.
They gathered nearly every major hero and villain they owned, teleported them across the cosmos to a distant artificial planet, and forced them to wage war against one another under the gaze of a god. It gave us the Black Spider-Man suit that would eventually become Venom, one of the most valuable characters Marvel has ever created. It elevated Doctor Doom to literal godhood, and then revealed the tragic flaw that made him unworthy of it. And here is the strangest part of all. This universe-defining epic was, at its core, created to sell toys. This is Secret Wars, the original 12-issue maxi series, written by Jim Shooter, with art by Mike Zeck and Bob Layton, published across 1984 and into 1985. It stands as one of the most influential comic books ever produced, the foundational blueprint from which virtually every crossover event that followed was constructed. This is the complete story, from the mysterious summons that pulled Earth's champions across space.
So they practically invented
remade all of reality.
They invented the crossover
and everything
pretty much
in between. Let's get into it. The Beyonders' impossible summons. The story itself opens on a note of pure mystery and cosmic dread. In the depths of space, not far from Earth, a strange and impossible structure suddenly appears, and from within it, a being of immense and utterly incomprehensible power turns its attention toward our world. This being is the Beyonder, and to understand Secret Wars, you have to understand just how alien and how powerful this entity truly is. The Beyonder originated from a dimension that exists entirely outside of the known universe, a realm referred to as the Beyond Realm. Within that dimension, the Beyonder existed as the sole inhabitant, a singular consciousness that was, in essence, the entire universe of his realm unto himself. He possessed effectively unlimited godly.
Yo, how do people come up with like these concepts and these ideas? Like I really want to sit down with like a Marvel or like DC and just see like how did they come up with like the original writers and stuff like that, and just see how they came up with these concepts, because the fact that you just thought about something like that is just like, I get it, and I could get where it stems from, but I really want to know the exact origins. Like, is it from, did you get it from religion, or did you get it from like, I don't even know, bro. Like, that's amazing to me. Like, niggas just sat there and said, so we're gonna have a guy named the Beyonder, and he's gonna be from the Beyond Realm, and he can do this. And like, how do you even come up with shit like that, bro? Like that's crazy, bro. I'm intrigued.
Like power, capable of reshaping matter and energy on any scale imaginable. But crucially, in all his existence, the Beyonder had never once encountered another consciousness. He had never known other minds, other beings, other perspectives. He was utterly, cosmically alone, and he did not even understand what he was missing. When the Beyonder became aware of Earth, and, more specifically, of its colorful array of costume champions and villains, he became fascinated by a set of concepts that were entirely foreign to his solitary existence. Conflict, desire, ambition.
Tom Ogle drove 200 miles on only 2 gallons of gasoline.
Royal Raymond.
The eternal struggle between what mortals called good and evil. These ideas captivated him precisely because he had never experienced anything like them. And so, with the casual ease of a being wielding infinite power, the Beyonder decided to conduct an experiment to satisfy his curiosity. He constructed an entire planet from scratch, a patchwork world assembled from fragments of many different worlds, complete with alien landscapes, strange technologies, and diverse environments. And then he reached out across the vastness of space and issued a summons that no one could refuse. A massive device materialized on Earth, and without warning, without explanation, the assembled heroes and villains of the planet were seized and teleported away, pulled across the cosmos to this newly fabricated world. The Beyonder then delivered his message, simple and world-shaking in its implications. Slay your enemies, he declared, and all that you desire shall be yours.
So basically, he just rounded up everybody, put them in one place and said, yo, y'all got to get it on. And if you win, you situate. Just out of curiosity, though, that's sick. Like, to just be like, yeah, y'all all just got to get it on. Like, we all going to just put each other against each other and we just going to see what's going to happen. Like, yeah. Like, what, bro?
Gathered the mightiest champions and the most dangerous villains of Earth, placed them upon his constructed battlefield, and promised that whoever emerged...
Oh, yeah, I gotta make sure my John is working. Okay, I'm just making sure. Can't be too,
victorious would have their every wish granted by an entity with the power to grant literally anything in existence. This world became known as Battleworld, and the terrible conflict that would unfold upon its surface became known as the Secret War, the greatest roster ever assembled. The lineup of characters gathered for Secret Wars
I could tell you the greatest roster ever assembled
of the Marvel Universe as it existed in the mid-1980s. An absolutely staggering concentration of heroes and villains, the likes of which readers had rarely, if ever, seen brought together in a single story. On the side of the heroes, the assembled might was formidable. The Avengers were present in force, including the living legend Captain America, the mighty Thor, the armored genius Iron Man, and their various teammates. The X-Men were pulled into the conflict as well, led at the Antilles, timed by the powerful Professor Xavier himself, and including fan favorites like the savage Wolverine, the disciplined Cyclops, the weather-controlling Storm, the power-absorbing Rogue, and the teleporting Nightcrawler. The Fantastic Four brought their own considerable power, with the brilliant Mr. Fantastic, the ever-loving Thing, the fiery Human Torch, and the Invisible Woman. Spider-Man found...
Wait, I thought Galactus was the one who was like running shit. So is the nigga that's stronger than Galactus? I mean, it's always somebody above somebody, so I guess that's
himself
true.
Pulled into a conflict vastly larger than the street-level battles he was accustomed to. And the Incredible Hulk was present as well, his unpredictable temperament and shifting loyalties making him a genuine wild card whose allegiance no one could count on. On the side of the villains, the roster was every bit as intimidating. Dr. Doom, the brilliant, ruthless, and endlessly ambitious monarch of the nation of Latveria, stood as the most dangerous and by far the most cunning of all the assembled evildoers. Alongside him stood Dr. Octopus, the Molecule Man, a deceptively powerful being with near-total control over the very matter of the universe, the time-traveling Kang the Conqueror, the brutish Wrecking Crew, the Absorbing Man, the Lizard, and the seductive and magical Enchantress. And looming over the entire proceeding as a threat of an entirely different magnitude was Galactus, the great devourer of worlds, a cosmic entity whose very presence threatened to overshadow everything else.
Sun is the biggest eater. Galactus is the biggest eater of all time. Yo, nigga is a planet eater.
From the very outset,
Bulldozer.
tensions and fractures appeared even among the ranks of those who should have been allies. The X-Men, forever the outsiders of the Marvel Universe, distrusted and feared by ordinary humanity, broke away from the other assembled heroes, deeply uncertain whether they should align themselves with...
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
Imagine me being able to give a fuck about what you just said.
With a group that had so often regarded them with suspicion. Adding to the complexity, Magneto, the master of magnetism, was present, and in a fascinating reflection of his morally ambiguous status during that particular era, he had been pulled to Battleworld among the ranks of the heroes, rather than the villains. The other heroes, however, regarded him with deep and open distrust, unable to forget his long history as one of their most dangerous adversaries. These divisions, suspicions, and uncertainties among the champions would become a crucial and compelling part of the
My son's stomach hurt over there. Look at it. Look at this nigga over there. His stomach hurt.
drama that unfolded. The first battles on Battle World.
Son's
With
stomach
all the
hurt.
players assembled and the Beyonders' terrible challenge issued, the conflict erupted in earnest. The heroes established a base of operations within a fabricated structure on the surface of Battle World, while the villains gathered themselves under the commanding leadership of Dr. Doom, along with the initially reluctant and uneasy partnership of the various other evildoers. And the battles that followed were genuinely spectacular.
But how did he get?
Initial villains gathered themselves under the commanding leadership of Dr. Doom, along with the initially reluctant and uneasy partnership of the various other evildoers. And the battles that followed were genuinely spectacular. The kind of massive, universe-spanning hero versus villain clashes that fans had rarely seen assembled on such an epic and concentrated scale. But it is crucial to understand that Secret Wars was never merely a mindless series of fistfights. Beneath the surface spectacle, it was fundamentally a story about ambition, about leadership, and about the deeply corrupting nature of power itself. And no character embodied these themes more completely than Dr. Doom.
Dr.
From the
Doom.
very beginning of the conflict, Doom understood something that the other assembled characters were frustratingly slow to grasp. He recognized that the Beyonder was not simply a game master presiding over their struggle, not merely a referee handing out a prize. He understood that the Beyonder was a being of genuinely unlimited, godlike power, and that this power itself was the true prize worth fighting for. While the other villains squabbled greedily among themselves over the Beyonder's promise of a single granted wish, Doom set his ambitions infinitely higher. He did not want a wish. He wanted the power to grant wishes. He did not want a reward.
Son want to
from
be a
God.
genie.
He wanted to become the god. Meanwhile, the heroes grappled with their own mounting challenges and struggles. Injuries piled up as the fighting continued. In a development of deep personal significance, the Thing discovered
But what
that
the
on
fuck does this have to? All right, this is cool, but I just want to understand how Iron Man becomes Doctor Doom. I bought for $10 from my local comic, even though Shauna was pushed, but she honored the price tag. It was in a half off back then. He finds it for the tons of longer. He's not happy. Yeah, bro. Like I'm trying to see what does this have to do? How did Iron Man become? You feel me? Like I'm trying to see how did he become thingy, bro? Like how did Iron Man become Doctor Doom? Because this is not really explaining anything. Matter of fact, let me
grant
just watch it.
wishes. He did not want a reward from a god. He wanted to become the god. Meanwhile, the heroes grappled with their own mounting challenges and struggles. Injuries piled up as the fighting continued. In a development of deep personal significance, the Thing discovered that on the strange surface of Battleworld, he could freely transform between his monstrous rocky form and his ordinary human form of Ben Grimm at will, a revelation that carried enormous emotional weight for a character who had long been trapped and tormented by his monstrous appearance. Relationships between the heroes formed and fractured
No such thing
Why
as
does
lunch
niggas start
breaks.
getting unnecessarily
Because
loud just now? Hero.
in an office.
under the pressure of constant combat. The Wasp was seemingly struck down and killed. And through it all, the assembled champions struggled desperately to comprehend the true nature of the artificial world they had been imprisoned upon, and the incomprehensible being who had orchestrated their captivity, the costume that became a monster. Now, we come to what is unquestionably one of the single most consequential moments in the entire Secret Wars saga, and indeed one of the most important and far-reaching moments in the history of Marvel Comics as a whole. It occurred during one of the many battles, when Spider-Man's iconic red and blue costume was badly damaged and torn in the fighting. Needing a replacement, Spider-Man was directed toward a machine that he was told would generate new clothing for him. Spider-Man activated the device, expecting fabric. Instead, out flowed a strange, inky black substance that surged up and over his entire body, forming itself into a sleek, striking black costume adorned with a bold white spider emblem across the chest.
So Spider-Man is getting a black suit in Secret Wars? Is that what I'm hearing correctly?
Was, at first, absolutely delighted with his remarkable new suit. It seemed almost miraculous in its capabilities. It responded directly to his very thoughts, changing and adjusting at his mental command. It could generate its own webbing, seemingly without any limit,
Spider-Man game,
freeing him from his usual reliance on mechanical web shooters. And it could even shapeshift at will to mimic ordinary street clothing, offering him unprecedented convenience. But what Spider-Man did not realize, and what would not be revealed to readers or to the character himself until subsequent stories back on Earth, was that this was no ordinary costume at all. It was, in fact, a living alien symbiote, a sentient and predatory creature that had bonded itself to his body and that harbored a quiet, growing intention to fuse with him permanently, to never let him go. The implications of this single moment
sound
would
like a
prove
toxic
absolutely
DM to me.
enormous. This black suit became perhaps the most important and lasting development to ever emerge from Secret Wars. When Spider-Man eventually returned home to Earth and finally discovered the true, parasitic nature of the costume he had grown so fond of, he violently rejected it, casting the alien creature away from him. And that rejected symbiote, now filled with bitter resentment and a burning hatred toward the Spider-Man who had abandoned it, would go on to seek out a new host.
Eddie Brock.
It found one in a man named Eddie Brock, who harbored his own grudge against Spider-Man, and together they became Venom, one of Spider-Man's single greatest and most enduring archenemies. From their sprawling mythology of symbiotes that continues to generate popular stories and characters to this very day. An entire and immensely valuable corner of the Marvel Universe traces its origin directly back to this one moment on Battleworld. A costume that was introduced largely to sell a new Spider-Man action figure became the seed of one of Marvel's most profitable and beloved franchises.
I love Venom too.
Doom's climb toward divinity.
Black Suit Spider-Man and Venom are my favorite characters. I like Black Suit Spider-Man because he just keeps it like Peter Parker, bro. Don't get me wrong, he's a strong individual, but I just be like, he be letting certain shit slide, and I don't be liking that for him, bro, because people be taking advantage of him. Like when he on that black suit, like he got that black suit, he be teed up, bro. Like he don't be playing with niggas, bro. And it kind of remind me of Batman, and that's why I fuck with Batman too, because it's like that. I'm not about to hear none of that, bro. You did what? Copy. I'm on that with you. You feel me? So that's why I like Black Suit Spider-Man. That's my favorite Spider-Man. Like the regular Spider-Man was cool when I was growing up, but when I got older, I was like, nigga, you soft. Like you won't just let niggas walk over you and do all types of shit to you. Like MJ, bro, that's a whole nother story. I ain't gonna talk about that bitch, but yeah, bro. I like Black Suit Spider-Man for a multitude of reasons. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I'm not jacking regular Spider-Man. He be on some whole shit.
As the Secret War continued to rage across Battleworld, Dr. Doom pursued his true and singular objective with all the patience, genius, and iron will that define him as a character. He understood, with perfect clarity, that the ultimate source of the Beyonders' limitless power was what he had to claim for himself, and he set about doing so with methodical precision. Doom's first great step came when Galactus, the World Devourer, made his own play for the Beyonders' power. The cosmic giant attempted to consume the entirety of Battleworld itself, an act that would satisfy his eternal, gnawing hunger, while simultaneously, he calculated, granting him the Beyonder's promised reward. But Doom saw his opportunity in this cosmic gambit. Moving with characteristic audacity, Doom seized a portion of Galactus's own immense cosmic power, draining the World Eater's energy and taking a crucial step up the towering ladder of power he sought to climb. But the power of Galactus, staggering as it was, proved to be merely a stepping stone. It was not nearly enough for what Doom truly intended. He set his sights at last upon the ultimate prize, the
Welcome to the GED Academy.
Son, Dr.
My
Doom
name is
took
Lou,
on
and I'm
Galactus
going to be
and
your
won?
personal teacher.
Beyonder
How the
himself,
fuck did you manage to do that,
the very
gang?
font of infinite power. And in a display of sheer audacity and unbreakable will that perhaps only Dr. Doom in all the Marvel Universe could ever have, mustered, he succeeded where any other being would have been utterly destroyed. Using the cosmic power he had already gathered, combined with his own unmatched intellect and his legendary force of will, Doom launched a direct and devastating assault upon the Beyonder, and he stole the entity's near omnipotent power, drawing it into himself and making it his own. In that singular, world-altering moment, Victor Von Doom became a god. He gained power beyond all mortal comprehension, the ability to reshape reality
So how the fuck niggas supposed to stop this nigga, bro? Like, what the fuck, bro?
itself according to his whim, to grant any wish,
The hell?
to reorder the fundamental structure of existence by an act of pure will. It was the ultimate culmination of everything that Dr. Doom had ever desired throughout his entire life, the final and absolute validation of his deepest conviction, the belief he had held since childhood, that he was destined for a greatness that towered above all other beings. For the first time in his long and bitter existence, Dr. Doom held within his grasp the genuine power of a true and living deity. The god undone by his own heart. And here's where Secret Wars delivers its single most profound, most enduring, and most tragic lesson, a theme that would come to define Dr. Doom's character for decades to come, and that would, remarkably, be revisited and expanded upon when Marvel returned to the Secret Wars concept 3 decades later in 2015. The lesson is this: Dr. Doom gained the power of a god, but he could not, in the end, actually handle it. With his newfound omnipotence coursing through him, Doom set about attempting to remake reality according to his vision. In a deeply telling act, he healed his own hideously scarred face, undoing the disfigurement that had haunted him and driven so much of his rage for his entire life. He reshaped the world around him. And revealingly, in a moment that spoke volumes about his genuinely complex psychology, he even resurrected several of the heroes who had fallen during the brutal conflict, proving himself unable to fully embrace pure, uncomplicated villainy, even at the absolute zenith of his godlike power. But something was deeply, fundamentally wrong. Despite holding infinite power in his hands, Doom found that he was unable to truly control the immense force he had stolen.
Duh.
And the reason for this failure was not external. It came from within. Doom's own subconscious insecurities, the deep self-doubt that lurked beneath his towering arrogance, and the profound psychological wounds that had defined and scarred his entire life. All of these things rose up to sabotage him from the inside. The power was perfect and infinite, but the vessel holding it, Doom's own broken and tormented psyche, was fatally flawed. The heroes, refusing to bow and refusing to accept Doom's newfound godhood, launched a final, desperate assault against him. And in the ensuing chaos, Doom's fundamental inability to master his own stolen power proved to be his ultimate undoing. The Beyonder's essence, it turned out, had not been truly destroyed, but merely displaced. And now it began to reassert itself, straining against Doom's imperfect control. Doom, overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the power he could not master and undermined at every turn by the sabotaging influence of his own damaged mind, ultimately lost everything he had gained. The godlike power slipped away from his grasp, flowing back to the Beyonder from whom it had been stolen, and Doctor Doom was defeated, cast down from his brief divinity back into the
Karn.
realm of mortality. This is the tragic and beating heart of Doctor Doom as a character, laid bare for all to see. He is a being brilliant enough, willful enough, and audacious enough to actually seize the power of a god, an achievement almost beyond imagining. And yet his own insecurities, his own deep psychological damage, render him fundamentally, tragically unable to hold on to it. His need for absolute control is so total, and yet his hidden self-doubt runs so deep that
Nah,
even
if you want to
literal
have the powers of a
omnipotence
god, bro,
cannot
you must
save
be
Doom
fucking
from the
sick,
one
bro,
enemy
because
he can never defeat.
no nigga
which is
is powerful
It is a
enough to deal
theme
with the
that would
power
come
of
to
God, but
define Doom across
God
the
himself.
decades. And it is absolutely no
that's
accident
sick.
that when Marvel chose to revisit the Secret Wars concept in 2000,
My son Kanye said no one man should have all that power. That's a fact, bro.
2015, they
Don't
placed
need all of
Doom's
that, bro.
godhood at the very center of the narrative once again, exploring this exact same tragic flaw on an even grander and more cosmic scale. The heroes return and the world
Oh, that's mad disrespectful. That's
changed
mad disrespectful.
with Doctor Doom defeated and cast down, and the Beyonders' stolen power fully restored to its rightful owner. The secret war at last drew toward its conclusion. The Beyonder, having observed the entire conflict from beginning to end, and having learned a great deal about the nature of desire, ambition, good, and evil that had so fascinated him, finally chose to release the assembled heroes and villains from his experiment. The champions of Earth were returned home across the vastness of space, but they came back forever changed by the extraordinary experiences they had endured upon Battleworld. The consequences of the secret war rippled outward across the entire Marvel universe in the months and years that followed. Spider-Man returned home wearing his mysterious black suit, unknowingly setting in motion the entire symbiote saga that would spawn Venom, Carnage, and so much more. The Thing made the fateful choice to remain behind on Battleworld for a time, rather than returning
son posted
immediately
up.
with his teammates. For a time,
My
rather
son
than
posted up.
returning immediately with his teammates. A decision that led to a notable period in which the Fantastic Four operated with a changed lineup, and that set up his own subsequent solo adventures. Relationships that had been forged and shattered during the pressures of the war carried forward into countless ongoing stories. Colossus of the X-Men, for instance, returned home having developed genuine romantic feelings for an alien healer named Zaji, who tragically died during the conflict on Battleworld, an experience that deeply complicated his existing relationship with Kitty Pryde back on Earth. The Hulk, the X-Men, the Avengers, and all the other participants carried elements of their Battleworld experiences back into their regular ongoing titles, enriching and complicating their individual sagas. The Beyonder himself, having become genuinely and deeply fascinated by humanity and the strange, passionate beings he had observed, did not simply vanish back into his distant realm. His burning curiosity about Earth and its inhabitants led directly into a sequel series, Secret Wars 2, in which the Beyonder actually traveled to Earth, taking on a human form in an attempt to experience mortal existence firsthand. In that stranger and far more philosophical follow-up, the godlike entity sought to understand the concepts that had so captivated him: desire, love, ambition, and what it truly meant to be human, wandering the earth as a confused and immensely powerful stranger, trying to make sense of the mortal condition. The blueprint for everything that followed. Secret Wars was released to absolutely enormous commercial success, quickly becoming one of the best-selling comic book series of its entire era, and definitively proving the commercial viability of the line-wide crossover event as a storytelling format. And that towering commercial success would go on to change the entire comic book industry forever, in ways that are still being felt to this very day. Secret Wars is widely and rightly credited as the first true modern comic book crossover event, the original template and blueprint from which virtually every major event that came after it was constructed. Every subsequent Marvel event, from the political drama of Civil War, to the cosmic tragedy of the Infinity Gauntlet, to the paranoid intrigue of Secret Invasion, and even the equivalent universe-spanning events published by rival companies, all of them owe a
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store.
I dare you to stop talking to me.
fundamental debt to the model that Secret Wars first established back in 1984. The very idea of gathering an entire universe of beloved characters together into a single, self-contained, epic narrative with universe-altering stakes became one of the absolute cornerstones of the comic book industry, a reliable and beloved format that continues to drive sales and excitement to this day. Beyond inventing the format itself, the story also introduced individual elements that Marvel would return to again and again across the decades. And Doctor Doom's dramatic brush with godhood became one of the single defining moments of his entire character, a story that firmly established the tragic and compelling tension between his limitless, world-conquering ambition and his crippling, self-sabotaging inability to ever truly master the power he so desperately craves. When Marvel eventually published a second, entirely separate and distinct Secret Wars in the year 2015, they were consciously and deliberately building upon this original foundation. They reused the same core Battleworld concept, and they once again placed Doctor Doom's godhood squarely at the very heart of the narrative, exploring the same tragic character flaw that Jim Shooter had first illuminated 3 decades earlier.
Where
The
the
2015 event served simultaneously as a loving tribute to and a grand evolution of what Shooter and his collaborators had created back in 1984, standing as powerful proof of just how deeply the original story had embedded itself into the very DNA of the Marvel Universe.
I just want to know how Iron Man becomes Doctor Doom, bro. And that's probably in this video here, but we will not be